Since our thoughts, our thought patterns, and our beliefs create our life experiences, it is important to recognize when our thinking becomes distorted. This series explores the thought patterns from Section 6 of our Spiritual Nutrition. By learning to recognize these patterns within ourselves, and by realigning our thinking with divine truth, we can stop repeating the learned patterns that create negative outcomes, and gradually, we begin to experience greater peace in our lives. In this video, we will explore 4 related thought patterns: judgment, criticism, condemnation, and unconditional love. Notice the order of these patterns. First comes judgment, where we think something is wrong. Then comes criticism, where someone, or ourselves, is wrong. And finally, condemnation. We cannot criticize unless we have first judged, and we cannot condemn until we have both judged and criticized. Unconditional love restores the truth and remembers, nothing was ever wrong with you. You are worthy, even when mistakes happen. One, judgment. Something is wrong. Core pattern. Judgment is the formation of opinions about ourselves or others. Sometimes these opinions arise after careful thought. Other times, they appear instantly. Judgment is a mental evaluation, an interpretation that says, something is wrong. The habit of judgment can soften when we stop assuming that we know the motives of others. How it manifests. Judgment can appear as quick internal labels for others such as lazy or arrogant, mentally ranking or comparing people, withholding warmth or presence because someone seems inferior, feeling morally or spiritually superior, or experiencing a harsh inner critic directed toward ourselves. Sounds like, this shouldn't be happening. They should know better. I would never do that. If I were better, this wouldn't be happening. How could they be so stupid? What's wrong with me? Spiritual effects. Judgment can contribute to hatred, intolerance, and prejudice. It can also feed our attraction to gossip or sensational stories. Physical effects. Possible physical expressions include arthritis, vision and eye issues, heartburn or indigestion, and high blood pressure. Origin of the pattern. Judgment often forms in environments where worth was conditional on behavior or performance. The voices of authority become internalized, and over time, they become the inner judge. The child learns, I must assess and judge in order to survive. A misplaced belief forms, I am safe when I determine who or what is wrong. Changing the pattern. The first step is to clearly identify the pattern. Judgment. Naming is not shaming. Naming is how the brain begins to reroute itself. In meditation, ask your guide to show the root or early event. Through reflection, we begin to see how judgment often leads to other harmful patterns, such as criticism, contempt, control, or condemnation. Practice forgiving yourself and others for human limitations, without minimizing the impact. Remember, even if I judge, or others judge me, I am still lovable. Observation does not require attack, and if our guide and the universal intelligence, God, do not judge us, then why should we? 2. Criticism. You did something wrong. Core pattern. Criticism is an unkind comment about ourselves or someone else. It may be spoken aloud or simply thought internally. Criticism often grows from low self-esteem or perfectionism. Many people are most critical of themselves, and sometimes that inner harshness is then projected outward. Criticism is judgment expressed through words, tone, thoughts, or attitude. It says, you did something wrong. How it manifests. Criticism may appear as constantly looking for someone's mistakes, frequently correcting others, finding faults more easily than beauty, self-deprecating remarks disguised as humility, sarcasm or passive-aggressive comments, or minimizing the achievements of others. Sounds like, I should be better than this. That's not how I would have done it. Why can't you do this right? That wasn't good enough. You always mess things up. I'm so disappointed in myself. I'm just being honest. Spiritual effects. Criticism often creates chronic unhappiness, and it can make it difficult to offer praise or encouragement. Physical effects. Skin disorders, joint problems, and autoimmune conditions have been associated with chronic criticism. Origin of the pattern. Criticism is often inherited from environments where love or attention were earned through performance. It becomes a survival strategy designed to avoid rejection. Children may learn the message, love and acceptance must be earned. Another belief forms, criticism will make people improve. Changing the pattern. Begin by naming the pattern, criticism. Naming interrupts the automatic loop and restores choice. Notice who the criticism targets. Often, criticism begins inward before it is directed outward. Ask yourself, am I criticizing myself right now? What we do to ourselves, we eventually do to others. Next, identify the fear beneath the criticism. Criticism is rarely about improvement. It is usually about fear of rejection, fear of failure, or fear of losing worth. Ask, what am I afraid will happen if this is not corrected? In meditation, ask your guide to reveal when criticism first became a survival strategy. Remember, I can tell the truth without attacking. Mistakes do not threaten worth. Guidance is more effective than pressure. Criticism dissolves when worth is no longer at stake. When love feels secure, learning becomes possible. And if our guide and the universal intelligence, God, do not judge or criticize us, then why should we? 3. Condemnation. You are wrong. Core pattern. Condemnation is the belief that a person is fundamentally wrong or unredeemable. It declares punishment for someone who has been judged guilty. Condemnation fixes identity to behavior. It removes the possibility of growth or forgiveness. Condemnation says, you are the mistake. It is judgment plus criticism hardened into identity punishment. Samt. How it manifests. Holding grudges. Emotional cutoff. Self-hatred or self-punishment. Rigid moral superiority or withdrawing love and connection. Sounds like, I'm a bad person. I'll never forgive myself. There's no coming back from this. You ruined everything. I deserve to suffer. Or expressions of scorn, rolling the eyes, or sneering at someone. Spiritual effects. Condemnation makes it difficult to receive appreciation, recognition, or praise. Physical effects. Chronic condemnation may contribute to arthritis, choking or throat tension, multiple sclerosis, and other neuromuscular conditions. Chronic self-condemnation can also create a fear of success that leads us to unconsciously underperform. Origin of the pattern. Condemnation is often learned in environments where mistakes were met with punishment or shame instead of guidance. The internal message becomes, mistakes cause the loss of love. Changing the pattern. Healing begins by separating identity from behavior. Meditation can help us understand why our self-esteem weakened. We begin to see that we are all human, each of us at different stages of soul development. We remember, what I did is not who I am. Practice forgiveness. Choose truth over punishment. Healing occurs when worth is restored. Worth cannot be revoked. And if our guide and the universal intelligence, God, do not judge, criticize, or condemn us, then why should we? 4. Unconditional love. You are worthy even when mistakes happen. Core pattern. Unconditional love recognizes inherent worth. Worth that exists independent of behavior, performance, success, or failure. Unconditional love sees clearly without judgment, criticism, or condemnation. It remembers, you are worthy even when mistakes happen. We are loved unconditionally by the universal intelligence. There is nothing we must do and nothing we must become in order to deserve that love. Universal energy registers within us as unconditional love, how it manifests. Compassion toward ourselves and toward others. Emotional safety, accountability without shame, boundaries without rejection, presence without control. Sounds like, I am worthy even when I make mistakes. I can take responsibility without shaming myself. I see what happened, and I still choose compassion. Calm tone, steady presence, boundaries without punishment, accountability paired with kindness. I can tell the truth without punishment. Love does not require perfection. I see you. Spiritual and physical effects. Unconditional love supports inner peace, trust, stable self-esteem, improved health, and higher vibrational states. Origin of the pattern. Unconditional love is not learned. It is remembered. It is our natural state before fear-based conditioning. Love does not require conditions in order to exist. Living the pattern. Become centered. Connect with your guide. Remember that we are accompanied and held in high regard by our unseen spiritual helpers. Practice compassion before correction. Hold boundaries without withdrawing love. Allow mistakes without collapsing identity. Return again and again to worth. Healing occurs when love is no longer withheld. Nothing needs to be earned. You are worthy, even when mistakes happen. Final reflection. Judgment, criticism, condemnation, and unconditional love are not random traits. They form a continuum, a movement from fear to separation, to punishment, and finally to healing. Judgment, criticism, and condemnation are expressions of fear. Unconditional love is the antidote to all three. When the nervous system feels unsafe, the mind tries to protect itself by judging to make sense of danger, criticizing to control outcomes, and condemning to eliminate perceived threat. Unconditional love appears when safety is restored, not through control, but through truth. The core message. Judgment asks, what's wrong? Criticism says, you did something wrong. Condemnation declares, you are wrong. Unconditional love remembers, nothing was ever wrong with you. You are worthy even when mistakes happen. Healing truth. Observation does not require attack. Correction does not require shame. Worth cannot be revoked. Love does not need to be earned.